happening around their neighborhood and Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm back, Jontel, your kinfo with the info. Welcome back to the Leon Block, y'all. It's another night, another hour. Tonight, I actually wanted to touch on something that I just found out real quick, and I wanted to bring a special guest on to talk about it. So I actually have my mother in the studio with us. Welcome officially to the Leon Block, Sherry Robertson. Thank you for joining us. You there?
Hi. Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I couldn't think of a more fitting and perfect person to have on for this topic. I don't know. I just felt like it was perfectly fitting. So I don't even know if I actually fully described or brought it up to you what exactly it was that I wanted to talk about. Did you get the gist of it?
I did. You wanted to speak about I guess a few moments to talk about hair, school, black hair, and equality in hair is what I understand.
Well, kind of. So what happened was Louisiana just made it so that here, well, let me just read the article. Maybe that would be more appropriate. So, is this the one? Or maybe it's the wrong article. Did I really do that? Nope. The one for Louisiana. Okay, so Louisiana just passed a law to basically when you take like the state boards to learn how to do hair, you have to learn how to cut ethnic, quote unquote, ethnic hair now. No, they said it's required to, here it is, Louisiana to require textured hair training for cosmetologists. So I wanted to ask you, like, is that something that is new and progressive, or is this something that has already been a trend going on recently with more and more states passing this?
Well, actually, it is not new. It is something that we learn. I actually went to school back in 19 probably about 19, what are you, 80? You're 89, 88.
It was
You're
1991.
I went to school back in 1990. I want to say 1990 I went to school.
Yeah.
And we actually did have to learn how to do all hair types. So there was no specific thing that we needed to work on, but we did need to learn how to do all hair types, all different hair patterns, all different hair waves and textures. We needed to know, and we also, got to understand the different backgrounds behind the hair. So in order to get the credit and things like that, you still need to be able to do those things. Now today, because a lot of people are branching out into natural hair care. Most assume that natural hair is limited to a specific ethnic background, at which it really is not. Natural hair
Right.
is any hair texture, background, or ethnicity that has not had a chemical or chemical process done to it to
To
alter its
alter it. Right.
natural state.
Right.
So, but because most people associate natural hair with the African American background or something like that,
Right.
they tend to take it to another level on what it is and the technical term for it. So now that everyone is choosing, that most I'll say are choosing to venture off into natural, just doing natural hair care, well, you need to learn how to cut it too.
Right.
And you cannot just cut natural hair any kind of way. You need to know how to cut it so that you get a proper cut
Well, let me
out
ask you
of it.
this, because from what I've seen, and it doesn't matter what your racial or ethnic background is, if you have like long hair and you go to cut it a certain way, it'll just shrivel up and frizz. And I've seen it happen to so many different people, and then they have issues afterwards trying to, like, I guess, re-maintain it. But does that have something to do with the chemicals that you put it into prior to cutting it?
Well, if your hair is natural, for one, you're not putting any chemicals in it.
Right.
And secondly, yes, it does depend on what you're putting on it, because depending on the type of curl pattern that you have, and your curl pattern being natural can be straight, it can be wavy, it can be curly or tight coily. So
Right.
it's still considered natural as long as it has not had any chemical process or makeup to it. Um, so when you are cutting that hair natural, whether it's straight, curly, or coily, you still need to know how to cut it, because some people need their hair wet to be cut. Some need it blown out straight to be cut. Some of it requires a lot of tension on it to be able to cut it. So you need to know that, and just reading it out of a book is not going to teach you. You need to see the techniques done hands on. You can't just learn by reading it out of a book on how to properly trim or cut a certain texture of hair.
Right.
So if that requires you cutting a Caucasian woman or an African American woman or a Hispanic child's hair, you're going to need to cut it to learn it. So if you bring somebody in there that don't really, okay, when I went to school, once you had a certain amount of hours of getting your book knowledge, you now had to learn how to get a certain amount of hours on the floor and work with, that's when you got your hands-on training. So you had clients that come in, they may send you clients in, or you can bring your own people in that want to get their hair cut so that you can receive the hours that you need. So
you don't necessarily have to bring in anyone with textured hair. You could bring in your kind of clients that have fine hair.
You need people with natural hair. If you're going and you want to specialize, because now you can just get a certification in natural hair. You don't have to just go for cosmetology. You don't have to go for just doing nails. So if you choose
is that just by the state, or is that nationwide now?
That is nationwide. It's always been. It's always been nationwide. But over the years, there are more people that choose to not want to have to do everything. So when you go to school for cosmetology, to become a cosmetologist, you learn all backgrounds of hair. You learn all backgrounds of body, health, skin, facial, massage, nails, feet, anything that has to do with the beauty industry. That's what you learn when you become a cosmetologist. Now, what you choose to focus on is the ending part of it. So you go to school, you learn cosmetology, you learn everything. If I choose to go into nail care, then I would take it a little bit further and study more into becoming a nail technician. So if I want to become a nail technician, that means I have to learn how to do people's feet. I have to learn how to do people's nails. And it don't matter whether they're black, white, or Hispanic. I have to learn how to do those nails. And if I want to learn different people's backgrounds in their nails, that means I will need to study different backgrounds of nail care. So how are you going to be able to learn to do those particular things if you are not willing to utilize those particular people to do it with?
Well, right. But what about the people that are in more homogenous environments? Let's say like the WXY woman that lives in Altoona that doesn't get any much people of color at all, and she only has to do WXY people hair. And is that kind of person doesn't have to learn any of that, right? And she can still pass a board, right?
Well, depending on the boards, well, you might need to bring somebody in, because if that's part of the state board, if you're going to learn natural hair care and you want to do a specific natural hair care background, then yes, you want to be able to either go to school in an area that is predominantly in that nationality, or then you find people and bring them into your establishment so that you can get that back, so that you can get those hours to learn it. When I went, yes, you had that opportunity to get to bring. I used to bring the boys to school, and cut their hair. If I needed to get hours for cutting, I got you boys to come in behind me and sit and get a haircut real quick, so I could get the hours for it.
I guess I just thought that this was something that was fresh and new, but maybe it's just exclusive to Louisiana. Maybe their laws are behind.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It really isn't something new. It's just that now there's a bigger and broader requirement for a certain ethnic background of natural hair. So
they're like better defining it. Is that it?
It's just becoming more popular. It's not something that we always had natural. We always had our hair, but now that it's becoming more of a trend and it's more, more embraced in the society and in the workplace and things. So more people.
Hold on, because this is Louisiana, right? And this article is saying that like of course, like you said, that, and it's just happened on the 16th, that they just changed this law to revise its testing requirements to now include textured hair training throughout the state. But that the ruling came about after Edwin Neal, who's the chairman of Louisiana's Board of Cosmetology and president of Aveda Arts and Sciences Institute, questioned why the state didn't require textured hair learnings as part of its curriculum in the first place. So maybe they're just like kind of behind on, like, compared to most states.
And that's true. That's true. They may just be a little behind on it, but again, because it is more popular, it is more accepted, and because of now having a natural hair care certification, they need to learn how to do that. So in order for them to learn how to do it, master it, and be certified in it, it would need to be in the curriculum for the state boards.
Gotcha.
It would need to be there. I mean, you can't say that you're a master of something if you don't get to practice it.
Right.
And for us to say, okay, you know what you're doing out there on the floor or in your business, you need to be able to pass this. And who's going to tell you that you passed it if you're not going in front of someone to show them what you know how to do? And if you want your clients to be confident about your work and your establishment, they do need to see that you've been well trained in it. I mean, if anyone truly values their hair, or at least wants to know that they're going somewhere that they can trust, they're going to look at your credentials first. They're going to look at your work first. And without you, I mean, what work can you show? I
don't know what I'm remembering then. Like, I'm just appalled that this is this evenly, like, you know, even across the board. I don't think I remember it being like this. I remember like braiding, but I don't remember doing any kinky hair or getting tested for anything on it.
Well, back then when we were getting braids, not everyone had relaxers in their hair. You know, not everyone before that time put curly perms in their hair. Most of us, most natural African American people or Black people, Black and brown people, they had natural hair. We didn't have those chemical processes in our hair, and our mothers had to comb and tug and pull on our hair. Did we remember it being as much work as it is today? No, but it really was. Now, coming up, yes, you wanted to get your hair braided, you can go anywhere. You can sit on your front stoop and braid your hair and not worry about it. You can go into a salon and get your hair braided and not worry about it. But because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of hair care to those specific styles and things like that, they started noticing a large amount of unsatisfaction being done, a number of damage to people's hair and their clients and things. Also, I mean, unfortunately, the financial background of it, people were making lots of money off of it. You know, it was going under the table and being unseen. So, you know, we can only do that for so long.
Right. So in other words, like, it was time for Black people to not just be sitting on a stoop, but have their own business and do it legitimately and make money off of it. You might as well. That is your God-given talent, and you deserve to make an empire off of it, just as well as these WXY people and any other culture are doing as well. Asians have salons, you know, Indians, and everyone else has their own thing. And you know, for us culturally here in America, we've always had our barber shops, our beauty salons, and that's there's two things that have definitely been staples in our community. So it's only fitting that we continue to progress in those realms, and it makes sense that I just didn't really think about it too much, I guess. And it says that an estimated 65% of the U.S. population has curly, coily, or wavy hair.
Yeah. Yep.
That makes perfect sense. And it says Louisiana will become the first state to make textured hair training a requirement for cosmetologists. That's crazy. It says it's long overdue. The board voted quickly and unanimously approved, which is great news, and now they want other states to follow suit. So I'm guessing this is just like what you were saying, this is just a further definition on what natural hair means, and they're better defining it as textured so that I don't understand.
It's just a way of regulating a little bit more of the hair care industry.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess.
So that, because we do need
Structure.
guidelines, we do need structure, or else, you know, I can truly say from my standpoint, had I not gone to school and gotten certified and licensed in what I know to do, I would not be able to do what I do if
Right.
I did not. Um, and when you're testing and things like that, when you're studying, they give us that information. They give us that knowledge. I could not be able to do what I do if I did not go through the training.
Right.
I can look at YouTube all day long, but if I do not, somebody telling me what to do is not the same as me learning how to do it.
Right.
You telling me what to do and telling me what to do or doing things for me on a daily basis, I wouldn't know how to do it myself so that I can take care of myself in the long run. And for me to do it, because you're not going to be here every day to help do these things for me. So if you can teach me the physical and the knowledge of it and the written information of it, then I can now take care of myself afterwards.
Well,
If you
we
continue
think about
to
that
feed
because
me,
go ahead.
if you continue to feed me, how am I supposed to feed myself when you're gone?
Right.
If you show me how to cook, then I can take care of myself later.
Right.
So if you're just,
I think this is a win because it further
Mhm.
defines
Oh,
a definition of a way. Like, okay, well, this is if and not just for us fellow Black people, but other cultures, other people that want to know how to do this too and help further. Because let's face it, we're only but a small proportion of this country, but we have a big influence in so many ways, whether they want to acknowledge, appropriate or not. We know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's make sure that we're capitalizing
Mhm.
off of those, like we are capitalizing and reaping the benefits from those rewards. And to have that, to get that, we do need to better define what it is that we have off of structure and things like tests. And historically, ancestrally, we've always carried information through word of mouth or through hair or through
Right.
art or through clothing. And that's still very true today, and especially with the way that we express ourselves when it comes to hair in so many ways. And that still may be true and it may always ring true for our people, but it doesn't mean that we can't extend this other arm to accelerate how to progress the way that we naturally should or could, or for some of us at least that want to, in this light in our society.
Yeah.
I wanted to like ask your perspective on, because you do exclusively natural hair from my understanding, or do you just do braids or
I predominantly do natural African American hair care. That is my predominant amount of what I do, but I am a licensed cosmetologist, which means I do a little bit of everything. And I do all hair types and all hair textures and all hair ethnic backgrounds. Locks, braids, weaves, relaxers,
okay.
little girls, grown women, older women. So I do all backgrounds of anything that has to do with the study and the knowledge of beauty industry. So I do a little bit of everything, but yes, my background specifically at this time in my life has been predominantly natural hair care of African American and brown people.
How
So
important do you think that is to one's not even just existence on this earth or confidence, but like identity or spirituality. Like what kind of impact does having like natural hair and taking care of your natural hair have on a person, do you think?
Well, it does mean a lot, and it does it definitely means a lot to me personally, because it does help for, as a woman, or even as most of our men, getting to understand, getting to learn and love their natural background, whatever that may be, their natural background. Getting to know how to take care of it, care for it, and just live it. So, but for me personally, the natural part of it is about being able to be wholesome, being able to live a clean background,
Right.
or a clean life, clean living. You know, when I found out that I was sick with the lupus, that was my release to come away from the chemicals and the unnatural process of things. Did I know that was going to be my life later, teaching other people about natural hair and the foods they eat and the things that they do and how to care for it? I did not know
it has to do with, right. I mean, I know you now understand like alchemy and just like keeping a certain pH level and things like that has a big influence.
Yeah,
something I really
and it took me into a level. It took me into a whole genre of my life. Not knowing that God was going to use me in that way for me to be able to give it to someone else. Right. So I knew once that time came that, wow, he took that away, that he took me away from those things so that I can be able to give someone else this today. And I now know that it's not good. It's not, I have probably about three clients that I actually do relaxers on because they just insist on staying there. They can't get away from it, but I try my best to continue to, do natural things and continue to push to, prolong the process so they're not constantly putting the chemicals in them and on their hair.
Right.
So I try to steer them away as much as possible.
Now let me say this, because now, like, we all know what the effects of, not the effects, but like the mental effects of what a black or brown person straightening their hair are. But it doesn't mean that one can't straighten their hair sometimes and enjoy it, or that it's a bad thing. Now, I think a lot of people have the misconception that just because you don't have relaxer in your hair, that your hair can't be straight, or that you can't get your hair straight. And that is not true. If you like to have your hair straight predominantly, or straight sometimes, you can still straighten it without putting tons of chemicals in your hair. I think it probably comes out healthier that way, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, you can still straighten and do all the things you want to do with it. Is it healthy to continue to do that on a regular basis? No. Because what happens is it tends to break down the natural texture that you started in the first place. If you do it too often, if you're doing it too often, and if you're, again, not licensed or not certified or have not studied or trained in a certain background, you can mess that curly background up. and break down the natural curl pattern if you do not know these things or are not knowledgeable in those things, because you just want your hair straight. So you're not, once you break that curl pattern down, it's no longer natural just because there's no chemical in it. You've just changed your curl pattern through a process that was not necessarily natural.
Right. That makes perfect sense. I just didn't think about it that deep. And honestly,
it
like,
can be done. Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
all ethnicities or cultures have this specific kind of conundrum. Other cultures, I'm sure, have their own other things that are a something to pay close attention to. But for us, this might be one of those things. I think it's more or less an opinion of whether, you know, one wants their hair straightened or whether they think it. I'm not even speaking of chemicals, but just having your hair straightened in general. But you predominantly like natural hair, right? Like not even like straightened, because again, that's still altering the state of your hair.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely like to see the natural curl pattern and the natural textures. It really doesn't matter. Like I can do three people with the same curly curl pattern, but their style comes out completely different on each one because everybody's curl has its own unique pattern to it, no matter how we define that particular curl.
Right.
So it's always exciting to get to see a new person's curl pattern get defined into something that they never thought that they could do.
Right. We're so taught from the womb to adhere to certain things and be a certain way that I think many of us don't exactly know who we are, because from day one we were kind of molded into something, all of us in some way. And if we can get one step closer to understanding that your hair is an extension of who you are, it's literally a physical manifestation, an extension that reaches out. Whether there's nerve endings in it or not, you can still feel with it. And it has emotions. It's a part of you. And when you're altering it, you're again altering a part of you on the outside. And it is really with like, for example, a relaxer. Well, I never got a relaxer, but I got something similar. I got a texturizer. I went through that for a couple years. And then I did some dyeing, but throughout my late 20s, like I really didn't mess with my hair too much when it came to dyeing, just because whenever I did dye it, it would just get really, really dry. And I always had like with my hair being dry anyway. But I want to say about 6 years ago now, I do not shampoo my hair. I only put conditioner in it. And my hair has been a lot healthier. It's been I'm able to maintain moisture in it, but it stays healthy. And I can't remember where I got that from. I read that somewhere and I was like, I'm gonna try that. And it turned out to benefit me. It's not like I'm still not cleaning my hair, but I'm just making sure that I'm not putting like detergent in my hair that's stripping it of all nutrients. I want to make sure that I retain and maintain the nutrients. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and now that's why there are so many natural hair care lines and products, and it's such a huge industry right now. You know, when I was coming up, we didn't have a whole lot to choose from.
Right.
and our hair was good. Was it healthy? All of the different things that we did to it? Not necessarily, but did we have the issues that we have now? No. Um,
I think
but we
that,
didn't
like, go ahead.
but we didn't have as much to choose from. Today, it's such a huge
Right.
industry. Everybody is jumping on the bandwagon of natural hair care.
That's true.
Uh, Even a lot of
Non-people of
the
color as
more
well.
are and their companies are jumping right on it, and getting into it. So it makes it very hard to pick and choose the products and the products and things to maintain and do our
Hmm.
hair now. But at the end of the day, I tell people just keep it as simple as possible. It's not a need to go all out and buy 50 million products just for your hair to look a certain way. Keep it as simple as possible. It's where we came from. You know, um, it's not a need for the extra. You know, just to be more.
That's true.
So yeah.
I think what was uh oh, over the years from, like, when you were coming up to when I was coming up to now, a lot of the different poisons and chemicals in our world really have had an effect on generations. And they can call it all these different disorders and diseases and whatnot, which very well may be true, but the common denominator is the things that we put into our soil, in our water,
Oh,
that we're
sure.
drinking, we're eating,
Hmm.
that we're breathing in, does have an effect on, like, how well our hair grows, how our skin feels. Do you know what I mean? And what are we putting in our body to counteract that? The things that are out there to eat off a normal American diet wouldn't necessarily counteract that. If you're growing some zucchini and some tomatoes in your backyard, um that's still a 50-50 shot, but it's a better shot than just eating a burger from McDonald's and thinking that it's going to bring your edges back. Like, it's not. Speaking of, there's Denaja, our family member. She has a hair care line. Shout out to Denaja, Naj Dukes, who may or may not be listening out there, but our grandmother's hair is the
Hmm.
name of their hair care line. And one of the things they
Oh,
specialize in is a natural serum that is good at bringing your edges back or growing your hair in general, even for men. And I've been wanting to hit her up because I got this, these gaps in my on my beard and stuff, and I want to fill them in. And
yeah.
always promoting it. So yeah. But I just had to point out that's my point, is that black folk are out here are doing it, and it is a big thing. Yes, white folk are trying to capitalize on it too, but there are by far tons of people of color doing their thing and really stepping outside the box, and not even just saying we're gonna go a step further and not feed fuel to the flame. No, we're going to make sure that it's organic stuff, that is stuff that actually does feed and nourish your soul, and replenishes and what's the word, reactivates your cells to make things grow and be better, not just get you hooked on things like crack, like a lot of
Hmm.
hair care products have in the past. And today, with people being so conscious about, especially black folk now, you'd be surprised, are more conscious about natural things and what they're putting into their bodies, that the companies have to be more aware of how they're marketing things and what they're actually putting in, because people do look at labels and things now and ingredients of things more than they ever have before. but we also have more of an assortment of chemicals out there to be wary of. So, the battle doesn't stop. But yeah, and I just wanted to wrap this up in a little bit, but I just wanted to thank you for having this chat. Just it's important for me to throw the black and brown twist on everything, but when it comes to hair, you can't have a discussion about hair without speaking about black and brown people. But what sparked this whole talk with you, actually, Mom, was the article about what happened in Louisiana. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like I said, I figured like who best to talk about it with.
Well, and it's not just happening there; it's also happening in other states that they had also changed their laws at one point, especially with the braiding. You needed to be certified at some point. I remember being in the salon with Auntie and working with her, and we had braiders at the time, helping me, and the laws changed, and we were no longer allowed to have unlicensed braiders. But now they are in some states, which I did just read currently, like in Tennessee, they are now about to change some of those laws to make them a little more easier on the independent entrepreneurs that they're calling it, to be able to still do so without having to go to school to get it. But again, there's nothing wrong with getting an opportunity to be educated in what you do, or taking your level of knowledge to another level by getting educated. It doesn't necessarily mean you're getting educated to the so-called white man, but you're being educated in knowledge of some things that your people may not know about. So it does not hurt to get the extra education or to get the knowledge on how to sanitize your utensils and your things that you use, because you
but
could
the
go
thing is,
and
with these braiders specifically, like this should have been, it never should have been like restrictions to begin with. And I think if that was the case, I think a lot of more people would have been more, if it was made easier for a lot of these people to be able to go to school, get, just to go ahead and get it to begin with, it would have been easier for everyone, and everyone would have benefited and made more money.
Well,
even the people that have enforced these things.
Right. Well, I think because it was something that we've always done, and because it was something that our grandmothers did, and because it came from our ethnic backgrounds,
we didn't feel a need that it makes sense in school.
For most, it was actually hard to grasp that we would need to do these things.
Right.
But then once it was done, now you can look at it as a licensed cosmetologist. Now you can look at it and kind of understand, wow, we never thought about the things that you're talking about. I have clients.
The opportunity that's actually there as someone that was sitting on their couch braiding their hair, just as Lottie do.
Right.
There's actually more opportunity in it now for that person.
Yeah, there's more opportunity in it, and it's also benefiting you, not just you, but you're benefiting your client at the same time. Because back in the day, yes, we didn't have that knowledge that we have today. So it's good to get the information and get the knowledge that you need, because it's not just about you, it's about your client, and you have to be safe for them, not just about you. So when you go and think, you're going to think twice now about picking that comb back up off the floor and putting it in that child's head, or putting it in your head.
Right.
And keep moving, instead of learning how to sanitize things and operate in a specific way. You're not going to go throwing dye on somebody's color on somebody's head and decide not to drape them up because,
But don't you
oh, I
think
didn't know I was supposed to do that.
with these new laws coming in, they should make it easier for people in the hood to attain these things because they're the talent and they're the ones that need it the most, you know?
Well, to a degree, I believe that, but yes, they are making the new laws a little more lenient so that it makes it more opportunities for those that can not afford to go to school full time to get these certificates and liaisures. So they are making it a little more lenient where you're only going to need to do a certain amount of hours to just get certified in, say, sanitation, or especially if you're just going to be doing a specific thing. If you're going to go to school and be a braider, then that's all you need to be doing. Don't put no scissors to nobody. Don't try to put no color. Don't be doing nothing extra. You want to braid, just braid. So now they're going to be giving certificates for just those things for you to specialize in. Now, you want to do natural hair care, you need to learn how to cut, comb, detangle, and learn how to put the proper tension, learn how to put the proper shampoos on that particular hair. Because every shampoo ain't for everybody's hair. Every comb ain't meant for every hair texture. And you need to know how to properly comb that particular person's hair. I have clients that come that won't go back to the other lady because she just keeps ripping my hair out my head.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, but they come to me because of the gentleness and because of the time and the patience that I can give. So you need to know those things. You need to learn those things. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. You want to be good to your clients. You want to give your clients a place that they can come to and trust and know that you've gotten what you needed to get. Because it's not fair to them if they're paying you for something that you don't know what you're doing. But
I think the most important thing.
But you get what you pay for.
Right. I think the most important thing is just Black and brown folk feeling like it's something that they did, that they're controlling. And that's all. Like, okay, you want us to do this? Fine, we'll do it, but just stay out of our business and let us do it ourselves, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And from what I've seen, that seems to be the case because Black beauticians are thriving, Black barbers are thriving in a number of ways these days. So it's got to be working. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely working. And it's keeping people more I feel like more responsible, more, you feel like you have a purpose. You feel like you're working towards something. It's not always going to be smooth. It's not meant to be. But every time you have that little step back and God shows you something just a little bit more, then you get that next step forward. But you can't keep going. You can't keep looking back. You got to continue to move forward and watch what he's doing. Watch what's coming, and it'll come. But we can't keep trying to hold, you can't keep trying to hold things back and expect to get forward. So you got to stay focused and stay moving in the right direction and let God move you into that direction. And you don't have to worry about the man or anybody else trying to keep you under, because only God can do that. And he wasn't meant to keep us under. He was only meant for us to prosper. So I keep it going. So.
Well, Mama Dukes, we appreciate your wisdom. Stay on the line real quick. I'm going to do the outro and all that. And just keep it locked real quick because I want to talk to you. But is there any last things you want to let people know? Is there any last thoughts you want people to know about hair? Where you reside in your hair, your salon, anything about it? Whoop whoop. That's your time to give your plugs.
Well, what I can truly say is just, you know, our hair is not just who we are, it's also what we live. It's a part of us, and you have to love it, embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just stay stuck in one place with it.
Mm-hmm.
As it grows, we grow.
That's right.
And if it ain't growing, you got to grow too, no matter what. You still have to continue to grow. I am Sherry Robertson, formerly Tolan Robertson. Yes, my son, Jontel Tolan. But I am the CEO, sole proprietor, and owner of Sherry's Personal Touch Salon, LLC, here in Durham, North Carolina. I've been a licensed cosmetologist for over 20 years. And I love it. My theme to my salon and just what I always believe in and trust in. And I tell my clients, you know, that my salon is a place of spiritual patience and a place to bring light into your day. So,
yes.
And it always makes a difference who you have touch,
Yes.
and who you touch. So
I like that, a little personal touch.
yes, it is.
I like
Yes,
that. Now it has a deeper meaning to me. I dig that. I dig that. I don't know what it is about our family. We have a knack for words, but I really want to thank you for being on the Leon Block. And as y'all know, the Leon Block is an independent media outlet covering everything from world events, social justice, civil rights, human rights. We support and amplify BIPOC businesses, self-sustainable agriculture, spirituality, really anything that mainstream media won't, and so much more. So if you want real, raw news, as we all want, we got to do it ourselves. And being informed is important. Without information, true and real information, we're left in the dark and with a weak spot. But we will change that. I want to thank y'all for tuning into the Leon Block tonight. Of course, as always, make sure you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm Jontel. Arm yourself with knowledge and have a blessed journey.